Howdy, y'all. Joe Hills here, recording as I always do in Nashville, Tennessee. I don't know if you heard, but Mumbo Jumbo is apparently running for mayor, which means he is going to be in charge of all of the diamonds that I want to put lava on. I have had my eye on that diamond pile for a good while, and you know what? Now that there's some sort of democratic, in air quotes, I don't know how to do air quotes in Minecraft. Yeah, there we go. Air quotes, diamond pile, democratic. Anyway, now that Mumbo Jumbo has some sort of mechanism to democratically seize control of that diamond pile and allocate it to community projects, here's what I'm thinking we do. I'm thinking we do that. We take control of the diamond pile, and then we burn them all. Now, you might say, Joe, Mumbo Jumbo, he's super popular. He's way more popular than you. He's going to win in a mayor race. Well, you know what? For one thing, democracy is not a popularity contest, because, I mean, honestly, look around. But at the same time, yeah, Mumbo would totally beat me in a fair election. So that is why we are going to tamper with things a little bit. I was thinking, what if, if it's possible for Grian to just make up a mayor job? Nobody's stopping me from just making up a dog catcher job. Now, you might say, Joe, the server doesn't need a dog catcher. Yet. I have a plan for that. So let's go ahead and just get into that first. Let's go ahead and switch our thing back on here. First thing we're going to do is we're going to release all of these dogs from their boats. Okay, that didn't go well. The dog is now rowing. He learned so much. Oh, no, I'm sorry, doggy. You want a steak? Have a steak. There you go. Have two. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and release each of these dogs from their boats. I should probably have these guys sit down just so they don't wander off while I'm in process here. But what I figure we'll do is we'll release all... No! Wow. This is a little frustrating. I will admit it. I will admit it. Wrangling this many dogs is going to be a test of my abilities. But you know what? All this is proof that I'm going to make a great dog catcher. I mean, I got all the dogs here, didn't I? That was a feat. Didn't do that on camera, of course. But, I figure what I'll do is I will anonymize these dogs so that nobody knows that they belong to me. You might say, Joe, look at these clearly labeled red tags, and also these bats that are hovering around them because of your terrifying vampiric personality. You know what? I can't do much about the bats at the moment, but I bought these canonizers that will take these canines and make them look, whoops, that like... Wait, is that one actually wild? No, it wasn't. Look, see? Boom. You don't know if these are wild dogs or not. And we can just put these all over the server. I'm thinking we'll primarily focus on the shopping district and then just slowly build up a server-wide desire for having someone to remove all these dogs, right? And that'll be me. And then also somehow get it added to my powers as dog catcher that, the dog catcher is also in charge of securing the diamonds. Because what are diamonds if not really, really crystallized dogs? Are dogs not carbon, So, and then we can put diamonds under lava and nobody can yell at us because we'll sick the dogs on them. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and try and get this scheme moving. But in the meantime, I should also mention, I've gone ahead and started researching some of the lighthouses. Oh, sorry, puppers. There we go. I've started researching some of the lighthouses that y'all left comments on in the comments section below. I found an amazing one. Is he sitting on his own? Wow, good dog. Is it because I told him to sit while he was in the water? He just moved to the nearest land and then sat? That's really neat. Anyway, there's a really neat lighthouse. Whoops. Sorry, doggy. In Spain that has been operating since the 2nd century. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that in a bit. But if you think you know the name of it, feel free to leave that in the YouTube comments section below. But you could also just wait until, I say it. But that's fine. I don't know how quiz game shows work, but I'm not running for the quiz catcher. Quiz Catcher sounds like a really cool title. It's like a combination of Riddler and, Forensic Examiner. But I'd probably end up running against that guy from the Batman, and who needs that? That's too much stress. Okay, all those people from the Batman are kind of scary. Why is this bat loitering here? Are they attracted to dogs now? Is that like a legitimate thing in Minecraft? Okay, well, either way, I think at this point we have got all of the dogs successfully anonymized and out of their boats. So that means it is time to release them from their sits, good pups, and tell them to go ahead and follow me. Y'all get a treat if you go into the portal with me. You want to go in the portal with me? You? And you, name tag, you can go in the portal with me. Yeah, there we go. Okay, into the portal. I think if I hang out here, a bunch of them should try to run to me eventually and end up going through the portal. No, they're not going through the portal. But if I do this, is this helping? Is this better or worse? I feel like I'm an optometrist, which is very dissimilar from the job I'm running for. Although that bat, I can clearly tell, is blind. Okay, see, all the dogs are hanging out here. Dogs, yeah, into the portal. Into the portal, dogs. In. Come on. Oh, this isn't hard. What if I make them sit next to the portal? And then I just kind of nudge them. That works. Okay. Well, okay, so they all did somehow go through the portal. That is brilliantly successful. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We are just going to start sitting these dogs kind of around here in random places. Hey, one of you guys, yeah, you hop right there. And you're just going to sit here. Okay, I feel like, where would it be a good place for dogs in this thing? Ooh, probably not in the boats. No, don't go near the boats, you guys. Don't go near the boats. We'll just sit you right there. Okay, well, actually, can you face my way? Because it would probably look better if... Okay, actually, we'll put the little dog in the mushroom. You can be in the mushrooms, little dog. Okay, great. So then we got whatever this thing is. Oh, that's still the same thing. We're going to swing through here. Just put a dog out there. So we're just going to continue running around here, placing dogs and taking names. That dog no longer has a name. It only has a purpose. Oh, another stupid diamond pile. Yep. Okay. Here we go. Is this Scar's redstone zone? I think he'd appreciate the dog. He loves animals. He's a friend to all the animals. So, dogs, you want to face back this way a little bit? Yeah, you are doing a great job. Okay, let's get some of these up in the Hermit and Herald area here. Just everywhere we can, basically. There we go. You can stay there. We'll take this guy over here. This is a really questionably navigable path, just in general. Ooh, I do like all those colors, though. What is this? Color complete. Welcome. Ooh. Oh, did you guys see that? That was amazing. Oh no, is that dog gonna fall through though? Oh no, poor puppy. Yeah, maybe you don't belong in here. Yeah, we're not gonna leave a dog in this. This is terrifying. Okay. That was beautiful and terrifying at once. You could sit outside. Oh boy. That was a little too much, man. That was a little too much. Okay, yeah, we don't want to put dogs in there. Okay, wow. Whew. I had no idea that was even in there. So, wow, okay. Yeah, we'll just, we'll leave some random dogs out here. And I think we might have a few more to go add throughout the shopping district over time. But in the short term, what we need to do now is actually go get started on at least setting a foundation down for our lighthouse. So why don't we do that and let these dogs start slowly intimidating people on the server. Time skip. I gave some clues earlier this episode about the name of the lighthouse. Take 4. That was bad. Earlier this episode, I gave folks some clues about the identity of the lighthouse that we would be building. It is one of the oldest operated lighthouses in the world. It's been running since the 2nd century. It is the Tower of Hercules. Now, interesting thing, the Tower of Hercules itself is about 55 meters high, but it stands on a hill 57 meters high. I was looking around the server trying to find a good hill that's about 57 meters high, and this one is the absolute closest. Unfortunately, Doc has already built this goat here, and I have a feeling he's going to get the internet at his new house before I could build the entire lighthouse. So instead, we're just going to build this thing a little bit closer to the ground over here on the western shore of the Strait of Gibraltar. Now, as you can see, I've put some scaffolding in place to demonstrate how high the top of the lighthouse will be from the shore. Imagine going that high again, because once again, 55 and 57, those numbers are pretty close to each other. So, I mean, if this thing started here, it would go up quite a ways. I think that this is going to be a reasonable way to approach the subject matter, so it's actually more accessible from viewers, on boats below. Given render distance and things like that, like, having this lower to the sea level is not going to kill us. Now, the base is going to be about 32 meters, and so it's got a circular kind of plaza for its base, and then the lighthouse itself is a square tower. So, unlike a lot of modern lighthouses that are circular, this one is square. But the base is circular. We do need to establish a 32-meter base. And so part of that is going to be clearing out all these trees and building a rough stone circle. We'll probably do the first draft with cobblestone or something like that, just to get a sense of what it looks like and how it feels. And then we'll replace that with the appropriate materials as we go. So, I better get out my axe and chop down some trees. Time! We have returned to the shopping district of the Hermitcraft server. As you can see, that pile of diamonds there looks a little bit like the Statue of Liberty in the distance. And I don't know if you know anything about the torch on the Statue of Liberty's arm, but the best thing they ever did was light it up. And I think that we could probably do something similar with that diamond pile once we're elected dogcatcher. These dogs are everywhere. People are gonna notice. But you know what? We are back here not because of the dogs at the moment, but because of B-Dubs' sandstone for sale kiosk. Now, we're going to need a lot of sandstone, and he actually made me a barter offer. For every stack of dirt I trade him, I can take 1 stack of sandstone. But wait, is 4 stacks of sandstone going to be enough to build a 1-to-1 recreation of the Tower of Hercules? Certainly not. We are going to need to get some more dirt in order to actually properly trade these off. But in order to do that, we're going to have to go do some digging, do some more terraforming. And I'm not feeling that right now. I want to go and get started, at least on the lighthouse. I've laid out a foundation for it, 32 meters wide, and I think I'm pretty happy with the location. But we need to get a sense of it. That's the wrong portal. So what I want to do now is just go ahead and kind of put in a few of the corners. At 55 meters high, we can put in the kind of 4 corners of the lighthouse just to get a sense of how the structure will feel in relation to the rest of the Mediterranean Sea and the Strait of Gibraltar. And then from there, we'll kind of play it by ear if we terraform more, if we move it. This is part of Minecraft, is experimentation. Time skip. With corners 34 meters high and the peak 55 meters high, I have placed a rough outline of what the lighthouse would look like here to get a sense of whether we like it or not. And you know what? I'm going to be honest, I'm not sure I do, for a few reasons. We actually have some options here. For one thing, the lighthouse, where it is now, is a little bit too far back to kind of load the beginning of the vineyard, and I'm not sure I love that. For another thing, the terrain here seems to generally drop lower and lower as you approach the portal there, which is not really ideal for where you'd want a lighthouse. You want a lighthouse on the highest point. So I think what I'm going to do is move the lighthouse both forward a bit and slightly higher up, because as you can see from this elevation change, it looks kind of weird to have the land descending and then the lighthouse at the lowest point. That's just not natural. Another thing is, look at this goat elevation versus the lighthouse elevation. Doc took advantage of that natural hill there in a very, very nice way. And I think that we're going to want to create a super, sub, or paranatural hill also known as a terraformed hill, that complements it cleanly. Because, like, let's swing around here. So if somebody's coming from this part of the bay, right, heading this way, the lighthouse is going to pop in eventually, and it's going to be way shorter than the goat. Like, wow, look at how far back that is. There we go. So that lighthouse is not really great right there. It needs to be a little bit more forward. But, you know, one thing you'll also notice is only part of it loaded. Because, unfortunately, I made the mistake of placing that on the corner of 4 chunks. You know, when we're just putting in our mock-up to see if we like it, that's fine. But for the final one, you know, this is why we did the mock-up, so we don't make that same mistake again. If I hit F3 and G, I can now load the virtual world of Reboot. So we are now trapped inside of a computer game. But what we want to do is figure out which of these chunks to actually put the center of the lighthouse in. Because the lighthouse itself is 12 by 12, even though the plaza is much larger. This is the worst possible place I could have put it, is right on the corner of 4 chunks, right? We can do better than that. And as I look at the chunks that we might select, like I said, we can move this 1 chunk further here, 2 chunks further forward. I think having the center of the lighthouse right here is going to be the best. We use this existing hill here and this existing hill here to form part of the base of our new cliff, and we build that up. Let's say, maybe not the full 55 meters, but let's say we build that up, I don't know, 20-something meters. That's going to be higher than the land back there that we saw, and it's just going to really pull all of this together. Whoops, F3 and G, F3 away. So, now that's going to be a little bit time-consuming. So, what do we do with time-consuming projects? Skip them. Time skip. As you can see, we've done some extensive terraforming here, and the goat and the lighthouse are now a little bit more complementary. I'm going to want to add some dirt around the base of the lighthouse, although all the dirt that I've been getting lately, I've been just dumping straight into B-dubs' chests, not because he has some sort of chest wound that can only be healed by dirt or a mud applique, but because of that sandstone trade from earlier. I've started working on this cliff. Getting a rough kind of shape to it is a good start, but as you can tell, it's still kind of blocky. I'm going to want to add some dirt and some outlying low areas with some of these trees to kind of match this general area here. But on the whole, this is the size and shape of the lighthouse as it will be in its final form. I feel like once we get things a little bit more detailed, it's going to look even better. But you know what? That is an issue for next episode. You know what? My goal by the end of this episode was to put a bunch of dogs everywhere and have the foundation for the lighthouse in. I feel like we can safely say we've accomplished that. We'll do the detail pass and make this thing look even better next episode. You may have noticed that this episode was pre-roll ad-free, meaning no advertisement before the episode. That's thanks to $200 a month Patreon sponsor, Take V. This episode was also mid-roll ad-free, no advertisements in the middle of the video, thanks to $100 a month Patreon sponsor Bioduck. I'm pushing the Patreon a little bit harder these days, you guys, because YouTube advertisement revenue has dried up, and people all over the country are getting laid off and losing their day jobs. So just in case, you know, I'm trying to get that taken care of to make sure that I can care for me and mine. So I really appreciate Take V and Bioduck's contributions on Patreon, as well as all of the folks who contribute on Patreon via patreon.com/JoeHills. Now, in lieu of the mid-roll ad, I will now provide a poetry prompt of my own devising. Lighthouses. You can do whatever you want with that. Lighthouses is a very open-ended prompt. I'm sure we'll get some about houses that have lost weight. I'm sure we'll get some about the sea. I can't wait to see what you guys post in the YouTube comments section below. Until next time, y'all, this is Joe Hills from Nashville, Tennessee. Keep adventuring.